Well, there's some breaking news out of Washington. Special counsel Jack Smith, he's resigned from the Justice Department. That resignation effective yesterday. Smith announced his exit in a court filing that was made public today. But you know, the move is not a surprise. Smith was expected to leave the department by January 20th when President-elect Trump takes office.
Jack Smith is finally gone, but according to one of Trump's top lawyers, they're not done with him. So Ron DeSantis comes out swinging to defend the president, and CNN has a total meltdown after they tried to defend California's DEI policies. Now, I got that and a whole lot more in today's video, so I hope you guys are cozy. Now, let's go ahead and get started with Jack Smith and his failed mission to interfere with the 2024 presidential election, all right? A report from late last year shows that Jack Smith spent, get this, over $50 million to prosecute former President Donald Trump. Let that sink in just for a second. Cases that have now ultimately collapsed. And if that wasn't embarrassing enough or a waste of taxpayer money, Alina Habba, Trump's lawyer, claimed in a podcast with Benny Johnson that Jack Smith quitting won't change a thing. In fact, she laid out a warning to the prosecutor. Check this out. And guys, thanks so much for being here. Thanks so much for sharing these videos and hitting the like button. I really appreciate you guys. Let's jump in.
I think that probably there are many scared, there are thousands of scared people at the DOJ. According to many reports, they're literally shaking in fear, living in a salt mine of tears. Yeah. But there's got to be the scariest for Jack Smith. Now, you've been at war with Jack Smith for quite a while. You've stared down Jack Smith. Jack Smith is now scurrying like a rat. He's not going to give Trump an opportunity to fire him, as you've predicted on this program. He's going to resign. Your message to Jack Smith?
Bye. Bye. We're not done with him, because I'll tell you right now, what he did, $50 million of taxpayer dollars. When I say we, I mean the American people. You can't resign and hide from what you did. You cannot. And, for these people that are real tough guys, you're running real quick. And that tells me that we were right. We were right. Yeah. Every time someone said, I was wrong, she's so stupid, she doesn't know what she's talking about, and I'm screaming on the courtroom stairs, I don't look so wrong right now. Because if you have nothing to hide, where are you going?
Former federal prosecutor Naima Rahmani also weighed in and said this. Ultimately, Jack Smith's prosecutions were a waste of taxpayer money. He got nowhere near trial on either case. And the election fraud indictments, they didn't reveal significantly more evidence than the January 6th committee, meaning that Jack Smith did all of this and got jack squat. But as we heard from Miss Alina Habba, Jack Smith now has a target on his back, and even his resignation won't help him hide from justice. Now, mainstream media refuses to learn their lesson. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, he went ballistic during a press conference where reporters were obviously asking biased questions.
So, these things are go how they go, but I can tell you, and I'll say the same with Biden. I worked well with Biden during his time in natural disasters, and I work well with Donald Trump. So I'm very confident, as a state that knows we face these, that a Trump administration is going to be very strong and is going to be there for the people regardless of party.
Is it appropriate for the president-elect or a president to be criticizing?
Is it appropriate for people in your industry to try to create division and to try to create narratives anytime these things happen? Now, you're not as interested in doing that because Newsom is a D. If Newsom was a Republican, you guys would you would have him nailed to the wall for what they're doing over there. And I know we've dealt with it. We just assume in Florida, anytime something happens, it's going to be politicized by the media. So you guys sitting in judgment of Donald Trump, I mean, excuse me, I think your track record of politicizing these things is very, very bad.
Okay, last question. Newsom should resign and that the wildfires are all his fault. So do you agree with those comments?
I remember when we had the Surfside Tower collapse, I had people from the Washington Post trying to blame me for it immediately without having any facts or anything. Oh, he didn't declare a state of emergency. First of all, state of emergency doesn't mean you can't respond. It's all that. Excuse me?
Biden did it. I think that's what you said.
Well, but what I'm telling you is you guys are trying to make an issue of it when I have watched from this seat. In fact, when I got elected governor, I was meeting with some of the other Republican governors, and what they would say is, hey, if you have a natural disaster, just know media's coming at you, they're going to do it. It's not the same. That mayor of LA, if that were a Republican mayor, I could only imagine what that would do. I mean, the fires are at high risk, and you try to go to Africa or wherever she was to go on some type of voyage. You should have been there preparing and doing that, and yet I don't see a lot of heat being directed in that thing. And so, I'd like to see some balance on how this is done. You could criticize the president-elect, but I think you also have to hold these other people accountable, and I have not seen that.
So Ron DeSantis was not mincing words at all. This is why the Democratic Party lost last year, because it's pretty clear to anybody with eyes and ears that mainstream media and these news outlets are biased, that they do not hold each party to the same set of standards. This will, in turn, have more and more viewers reject your point of view. Now, that's already happening with a few big players, which includes names like MSNBC, ABC News, and even CNN. None of them seem to understand that showing hate for one person can sink their ratings down to the bottom of the sea. In comes CNN and their defense of DEI policies. Now, I want you guys to watch this clip, pay very, very close attention, and judge for yourself if DEI is applicable to our fire department. Check this out.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
So it's our fault if a DEI hire can't carry us out of a fire? What? What alternative universe are we living in, guys? But they're telling us, oh, hey, don't worry, because they're here to help people who look like them, suggesting that emotions play a role in being saved from a raging fire. So I guess if I'm in a burning building and I don't have purple hair, there's a good chance I might not get saved. That ain't cool. We all know this does nothing at all. And it makes you realize why the LA fires are as bad as they are right now, especially with this kind of mentality in charge, right? Now, CNN's Scott Jennings criticized the LA Fire Department and their other DEI policies, something that Democratic Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett did not appreciate. Watch this.
Last year, there was some interest in the fire departments and the firefighters in California, and the interest was that there were too many white men who were firefighters, and we need to have a program in California to make sure we don't have enough white men as firefighters. So we have DEI, we have budget cuts, and yet I'm wondering now, if your house is burning down, how much do you care what color the firefighters
you
are?
can respond and then
Listen, I am so tired. You know what? There was an article that just came out that said that actually the most educated demographic in this country right now is black women. So let me be clear. Because you are a woman, or because I know that some of the right has been sharing these photos of the fact that I believe that the fire chief may be a woman or something, that has nothing to do with it. We are looking at qualifications. What diversity, equity, and inclusion has always been about is saying, you know what? Open this up. Don't just look at the white men. Open it up and recognize that other people can be qualified. And the fact that we want to, at a time when people are dying, decide that a country of immigrants is failing, or people are dying because the same very people that built this country, because the last time I checked, y'all didn't say that anything was wrong with the White House. And I can promise you it was my ancestors that built the White House. So listen, if we have been good enough to build this country, we are good enough to serve and die overseas, we are good enough to serve in other ways. And the fact that people actually decide that they want to engage in public service, whether it's sitting in Congress or whether it's serving on the fire department or the police department, should not be an issue. The fact is, stop trying to act as if only white men are the ones that are capable. Because right now you're sitting at a table with 3 very capable black women.
I'm not. I'm just simply saying that as a matter of public policy in California, the main interest in the fire department lately has been in DEI programming and budget cuts, and now we have this massive fire.
Are we really? But Scott, are we really blaming the fire department? The people in the LA fire department.
No, I'm blaming the Democrats who run the state.
No. But the fire department right now, they are dealing with a historic fire. Okay,
and they have terrible leadership.
That is caused by climate. By the fact that it is extremely dry in the state of California, and they are fighting it in tropical force winds in that state.
So this is the problem with many Democrats. They love to hear themselves talk, but it ain't nothing but lies and hot air. But if somebody comes along with the right logic and mindset that just so happens to go against theirs, they cry wolf. Now, yes, it's perfectly normal to hire someone based on merit. It's the way it should be, especially if they're proven that they're more than capable to do the job. What Scott's saying here is that California has put people in place based solely on diversity. It also takes 2 seconds to find articles like this one. It's an interview interview on NPR from 2023. The title is Firefighting is Mostly White and Male. A California program aims to change that. And like Jennings said, this disaster is what you end up with. Now, I want you guys to participate here, all right? Do you believe that these programs hurt LA's fire department? Or is it a priority to have DEI policies in place of safety? Now, I want to go ahead and direct you guys to a live stream where I just covered the recent secret conversation between former President Barack Obama and President Donald Trump. A lip reader has broken the silence, and we now have an idea as what the two said to each other. Make sure you guys check that one out. As always, appreciate y'all being here. Thanks for hitting the like button and subscribe if you want to, or don't. That's cool too. We'll see you guys on the next one.